What's going on, guys? Today I am doing part 2 of the clay modeling series that I'm starting. This video is going to cover my basic rudimentary setup that I have on this 5th scale half model right here, and kind of the battle plan of how I'm going to go about doing this. So today is all about basic setup, and if you haven't watched the first part of my video series, go up and click the card up there, and I'll link in that very first clay modeling video. That one's kind of a basic construction video, and I'll get into that a little bit today, but this is more about the basic setup that I'm working with, and we're gonna go from there. What we're looking at right now is an armature for 1/2 of a car, and so this is just a mirror right here, and so I've just got this propped up for now. I might improve that system later. So this is just a regular plastic kind of mirror. You could probably get this at like hardware store, or maybe just find a mirror and pull it out of a frame or something rather like that. That might be kind of tricky to get your hands on, but yeah, this is just a simple mirror. This one's just a flexible piece of plastic, nothing crazy there. And then this is the backside of our armature. This one is actually from my sophomore year of college, so this model is probably almost 4 years old. And I also had no idea what I was doing when I built this. But the basics are there. So what we're looking at, if you watched the first video, it's pretty much the same thing, just a little bit different. We've got a section of wood here, which is like our stanchion area, or a truck. This method is called a skateboard method, and so you've got trucks where your wheels of your skateboard would be, and then this is your deck right here. It's just another piece of plywood going this way. These probably shouldn't have been cut out, but you know, I was young and dumb, and that's what happens. And then this is just white styrofoam. You can get a better look at that. White styrofoam glued down to the plywood. These are just screws going into this part of the base. And so what I've done here is attached a piece of plywood on the side. I put some screws in here to hold this, and that way I can just clamp it to my table, and the model won't slide around. In the front, this one I didn't attach, it's just pushed up on there. So this actually kind of moves, but basically that just locks it in place on the table, so it's not gonna be sliding around all over the place. As you can see, this model is all stripped down. I will put in that footage right now. And as I knew this car that I had laying around in my storage area had a lot of extra clay on the back, so I knew it would be a good one to strip down because I don't have access to unlimited clay. So being able to recycle the clay off of this half model actually worked out pretty well. So I'm gonna let that time lapse go. This is the amount of clay I was able to get from that car. I've also got some bigger chunks here and a little pile there. So basic setup, really simple armature. This one's already shaped. When you get your foam, you'll have to trace out your shape you want and go ahead and cut that on a bandsaw or just with a knife. This stuff cuts really easily. This one's got a base kind of rough pack on it because I didn't take all of it off, and what it looks like from the front. And so basically what'll happen once I get rolling on this thing, the mirror will pop up, slide that over, and this just allows you to see symmetry, and so you're making half as much car. You don't have to balance the car like side to side. The mirror does all of that for you, and a lot of the times people can't even tell that there's actually a mirror there, so pretty cool. over here. So I have my clay recycling, my table, my model, a tarp set up just to catch some stuff. I'll probably end up just not using this at all. Extra clay. This is my mini oven. I already filmed this, so I'll put in what I did right now. So when it comes to keeping the clay nice and warm for when it has to be applied to the model, I built this little makeshift clay heating oven contraption. And basically I'm gonna put all of my good clay that is usable recycled clay and set it in here. And then I've got a lamp with a standard light bulb. And this is just gonna sit right over top of this. And that should be plenty of heat. And this is what I plan on using for this entire project. Just this little makeshift oven box. If I need something more extreme, I'll definitely improve it, but this is literally just tin foil on the inside of a cardboard box, a little bit of tape to hold everything in place, and that should be plenty. So when you're getting recycled clay, the number one thing that you want to make sure you don't have is going to be any of this white foam. Let me see if I can get it better. White foam is your total enemy in clay modeling. In the beginning phases, it's not that bad because you're packing over it with clay. But when you get to a finished surface, you drag some of these particles through your surface and you got to start over on that whole surface, or at least fix where that dragged through. So this stuff I am just gonna toss because it's not worth the effort or time to go through and get all of that foam out of there. So I'm taking some of that, throwing it in my little makeshift oven. Not sure how effective this is gonna be as I said, but I'm gonna take some chunks. The chips will probably melt down faster than a big chunk, and I'll probably end up using a heat gun. But for now, I'm gonna fill this up. Most of the materials needed to build a model you can get at a simple hardware store. And the only hard part you're gonna need to find is clay. This clay is actually, I believe, Tech clay. You can get boxes of this stuff online. I've also used Chavant clay and a few other companies. So I'll try to put some links down below of where you can actually buy clay. I know it's not always the cheapest, but if you're serious about this, you'll invest. This is probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 billets worth. So it might be $8 a billet or 15 bucks a billet. Like I said, I'll link some stuff down below if I can find it. If not, you might have to do some digging, and that might be the hardest part to find. Otherwise, styrofoam and plywood, pretty straightforward. So that's the basic setup. As I'm filming this right now, we are all in quarantine and lockdown all over the world, which means my main toolbox, all of my tools are locked in my toolbox in a wind tunnel at GM's Tech Center. So I don't have any of my normal sculpting tools, which is fine for this because if you're doing this at home, you won't have any specialized tools either. So what I'm gonna do after I finish up this video is go ahead and make a separate video going over some basic tools and maybe building a few simple things that'll really make this process a lot easier. After we've got some simple tools, then we can start going in on this model itself. I'm gonna go ahead and message some of my friends who are designers and see if they can provide me with a really cool side view, maybe a front and rear view sketch. If not, I'll just go on the internet and pull something from there, and that'll be our baseline for what we're gonna be making. That's the plan so far. This will get the ball rolling for us. This is a really simple setup, and it's easy to break down and put back up whenever. I'm gonna go ahead and get that sketch printed out and also get working on some tools. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. That way when new videos come out, you'll be the first ones to see them and you'll be able to stay on track. I'll also have all these videos linked in a playlist. So if you're starting at episode 1 or at the last episode, you can go back and see every step along the way, all the tips and tricks and all the techniques. That's all I've got for today. See you guys next time.